Alright, so this is my second video that I'm recording here, and I'm using my iPad this time instead of my phone. And it just is a thing to start with. I think Apple on the iPad they have the camera on the front, which is in the top of it. But when you put the iPad down the other way, so you can have a video that looks more like a theater screen, the lengthwise, the camera should be on the here because now if I'm gonna watch myself talking, this is what happens. This is me watching myself. I'm looking over the right. It doesn't make sense. So I have to basically look at the camera, which is on the far left side, and then I can't really see myself. So that's kind of funny, whatever, stupid, but I was just like setting this up. So Apple put another camera on the top corner right here, and then people can choose that one, and it should make it easier. So anyway, another genius moment. So I want to talk about two quick things today. I spent a lot of time watching my first video. I probably watched it like 10, 15 times. I feel so good about doing it, and it was just so impactful for me, and all of the conversations that I've had with people afterwards have been just hugely beneficial. But just reinforcing all of the things that I talked about for myself of just it's just such a cool tool to have. And I think that like I said in the beginning, even if I just help like one person, or if one person watches it, or just for me, like, I think it's a win. So I want to continue to do these things. I don't want to do them at the length that I did them over the first one. I'm not going to have the same type stories. Obviously, that was more me expressing my entire story in one go. So, a couple things today. I'm going to try to keep them much shorter, brief, to the point, and focus on one thing at a time, or maybe two topics type thing. So, for one of the business things that I'm working on, which I also want to talk, I just want to talk about anything really that I'm doing in my life, that whatever this path is looking like for me, but in order just expressing myself so I can really understand like where I'm going, what I'm doing. The process of like doing online marketing and the business that I've got myself into has just led me in so many different ways, and leveraging all of the experience and doing all of the things that I did in the past has helped me, but like they're hard to put all into one, or to use at once, or you kind of have a narrow mind when one thing's making you money, and then you kind of go all in on that thing, and then you forget about what you did in the past. So anyways, that's happened to me kind of a few times, and that's kind of where I'm at now, just like focusing on one thing and not really thinking about the greater picture. Trying to be I'm really ultimately trying to build a big business, like large scale, $100 million business, and maybe one day sell it. Just something to be really proud of, hang my hat on, wear that badge, where I haven't really been able to do that with. I've been lots of money making schemes, and lots of very successful things that I've done, and made a bunch of financial success, but nothing in like a brand way, nothing in like a legacy way. Just more like enabling freedom. Just I'm a freedom fighter for myself in my business, and all of the successes come with just with a price tag on them. So that's what I'm kind of more shooting for. And so I'm just really going into all of my experience and trying to pull out all of the wins and where the wins came from, and just also getting into learning mode, and really trying to find purpose in what I'm doing, and clarity in terms of like how I'm going to form this idea, and what it's going to what it's going to take, and just using everything that was in every business that works, that had a success and is able to be financially sustainable. There are key core reasons in those businesses why it worked. And I think that's the point of doing this. And one of the things that I'm that have kind of sparked from starting this path is like thinking about the quizzes that I was doing back when I first started. I was doing all these quizzes that were based around like celebrities or topics or music bands or TV shows, reality, this and that or whatever. And it was like I was just an affiliate. Like I was just getting the leads into the quizzes. Like I didn't even own the quizzes. I just knew that they were related to my Twitter account, so I could like send people to them, and it made sense. But at the end of the day, the quizzes was they had an angle on them, and they were like people see what type of character you are of this band, or see what type of band member you are of this thing or TV show or movie or whatever character, and that was enough for people to do it, to like fill out a whole bunch of questions and then get sent down some lead gen path or some co-reg path and da 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 da. So. And I wasn't really ever leveraging that or thinking about it ever. It was just like small money for me, and I kind of dusted it off. Like, why would I focus on 50 cent to $1 leads when I'm now focused on like things that can make me $40 to $100, per lead, for different things, for different affiliate products and Nutra stuff. And anyways, so what I really want to just talk about for myself, so that I'm like just formulating this idea in my head, is the power of knowledge is more impactful and more powerful. The power of knowledge is more powerful, yeah, than whatever you're selling. So if you can educate the end user or the customer on what problem they're trying to fix in their life, or something along the lines of just opening up their mind to what the problem you're trying to fix. And if you can educate them first before ever selling them anything, before ever putting your product or your service or your lead or whatever your ask is of them first, the chances of them buying from you are exponentially greater. So instead of using your product to sell the customer, use education and use knowledge to open them up to the power of suggestion of your product afterwards. And it's not really something that I've been doing. A lot of the ways I've made money is more the product is so impulsive that people, you just have to place it in front of them and ask them how, and like say, ask me how much type thing. Or it's really one-time focused impulse buying. It's very just like insecurity based, like, are you fat? Buy this. Like, and here's a bogus story about someone else's 3-week success of doing that. And it works. It definitely works. But the problem is that it's one time, and the actual product doesn't do that. Like, there's no magic pill. There's no magic product that's just, as seen on TV type thing. So, Ryan, this is made for you. Focus on educating and the power of knowledge first, and really find out what you're trying to, what problem you're trying to fix for that person or those people, that segment, that category, whatever. And educate them first. Focus on just expanding their mind. And they might not buy from you, but the chances of them following or becoming a hot lead, the chances of monetizing those eyeballs is exponentially greater if you give them value first in a real way. And educating and enlightening and just passing on knowledge. It seems like I want to be paid for that. No, do it with just give it to them first, and allow them to make all of their decisions afterwards. And if they don't ever give you a penny, if you don't ever make money from them, that's fine. That's totally fine. But the conversion of the people afterwards versus the conversion of people before, it will always be greater. It just has to be. It just has to be. You're offering value for nothing. You're actually trying to solve the problem. You're focusing on the knowledge and that first. So that's something I needed to talk about. That's something I want to hear from myself. That's what I want to ingrain into my mind, and that's what I want to. Whatever I do, I need to think about that, and I need to implement that in whatever business I'm doing. So, that being said, that's all I have to say about business. I wanted to touch on something personally that from my learnings and my first video learnings and just rewatching everything and trying to pinpoint certain things I'm trying to fix and like the crux of the issues. So it only happens with experience. You can only find profound change when you go through these things, experience them yourselves, and come out the other side. So what I wanted to talk about is the act of giving and generosity, and the assumption or expectations put on the underlying. And I really needed to like really focus on that one thing and like where I was going wrong and where I want to fix going forward to stop going wrong all the time. So doing and giving to others, it makes me happy, and I don't think there's anything wrong with being a nice person or being generous and kind, and putting yourself out there. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And I don't think you should feel like, oh, I gotta stop doing that anymore. And I don't care what anyone tells me. Like, I know it's okay to be a good person. It's okay to be kind. It's okay to be generous. That's not the problem. And because I like doing that. I enjoy being a good person. Like, it brings me fulfillment, like happiness, joy, like, I like seeing other people benefiting from something that I can do from them. So that's not the problem. Where I've been going wrong is when you attach expectation in your head, in your mind, in your person to when you're doing those things. That's the problem. And I think for a long time, even while I was doing this, and like this is kind of me hopefully growing, is like I wouldn't do things with the direct expectation of wanting that same type thing back to me. So for example, if I buy you this, if I take you on this trip, then you owe me a trip back. I never thought that, and I never had that expectation ever. I really didn't. I never thought like, oh, these people can afford that, or that person needs to do this for me, and I need that back, that in that direct of a way. And I never had that, and so I thought it's okay then. Like you're no problem. Like you're doing this without expectation because you're not wanting it back in a direct way. And what I've come to realize is that that's not enough. That isn't the problem. That's because I didn't. That it still is not okay because you still have an underlying expectation. And so what my expectations more were is creating a rapport and a thought in my head that at some point in the future, if I need something from them, they would be there for me. They would do it for me, whatever it might be. And that's wrong. That's wrong. The expectation that someone is going to change their own personal being. If they're a selfish person, they're always going to be a selfish person. If they're a cheap person, they're always going to be a cheap person. If they are too busy for you, they're always going to be too busy for you. And so the expectation that I'm creating this bond with someone because I've done something, and in the future I might need something, or I want them to be a part of something in my life, or I have some sort of ask that they would be there for that because I did that. And that is the crux of where I've been going wrong, is that I've been associating that thought, that feeling, that connection, that friendship, that bond, that reciprocation at some point in the future, and thinking in my head, well, I don't know what I need right now, but at some point I might need something, and if I do this, they'll forever be grateful for it, and they would just blindly do it for me, like just without thought, like, of course you did this for me, so you know, blah blah blah. And that's where that's where I'm wrong, because it's not the case. People aren't going to be that way. If they weren't that way before you did something for them, they're definitely not going to do it afterwards. People don't just change overnight, and people don't change because of monetary things or not non-monetary. People, if you invest in them in any way, that doesn't mean they're going to invest in you, you know? So that's the crux of where I've been going wrong. And that's the part that I need to fix, and I need to understand myself better in those moments of wanting to do for others, to really figure out why I'm going to do that then. Like, what's the reason? What is this doing for me? And no matter what happens, if these people tell me to go fuck myself the next day for whatever reason, am I okay with that? If if whatever I'm doing, if the value of it is of greater good to like the world, to people in general, to myself, maybe I'm using it as a tool for myself to teach someone something, just to better learn it myself. Anything at all that way, if it's going to benefit me, and no matter what the outcome is, I can benefit from doing that thing. That's the type of thing you need to focus on and do, and like listen to yourself and all that kind of stuff. So that's what I've been diving into. I've been thinking a lot about that. And yeah, so blog entry number 2. I don't know how many of these I'm going to do. I was talking to my cousin about she said you should make more videos. And I was like, yeah, I want to, but definitely shorter, 15 to 30 minutes, but like probably 15 is enough. So yeah, that's my second one, and it's just thoughts, it's rambling, but it's also just, squaring up things in my head and trying to keep working on this path and keep focusing on what's important in my life. So that's what I got for today, and Ryan, whoever's watching this, that's what I'm doing. That's what's for you to see and watch and rewatch and all that. So I hope it helped.